Valley, hooey Hollywood. Where any office boy
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of That Movie Show. Mike Wendt and Eddie McCabe taking you through another week of movie talk. Eddie, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing peachy keen jelly bean.
Oh, that's better. It's a new day. It's a new you. It's a new year. It's a new everything. It's a new America today.
It's a new America today.
Is it though?
No.
Okay. Can I go to a bar and watch a hockey game tonight? No. Okay. No. Cool. I guess I'm just gonna sit here. I guess I could technically, but whatever. I don't fucking know the rules. I don't feel like reading them. I'm just gonna stay home until I don't have to read rules.
Yeah.
That's kind of
you can go to a restaurant, but you have to wear a mask all the way to the table. But then you have to wear the mask all the way through ordering at the table, and then you can take it off. So then if you need to reorder anything, you don't have to wear a mask.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm not good with rules. So my version of this pandemic is I'm gonna sit here in my chair until I don't have to fucking learn a new thing. I kind of figured out how to go to restaurants. I was pretty good at it for a while. I don't want to have to relearn that shit.
Dare you say professionally?
For a minute, I was. Yeah. I did it professionally for a minute. Now I don't want to relearn that shit. So get your shit together. I don't care what I have to shoot into my arm just to go to a bar. That's all I want.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's because hockey season started back up this week. It's like it really, like I've had one of those weeks where I'm like, man, I miss just going to a bar. You know what I mean? Like just on a whim. Like I went to the liquor store this week to pick up beer, and I was driving, and I'm like, I just want to go to a bar and get some chicken wings and beer and watch a fucking game. And I'm like, I can't do that right now.
No, can't do that.
Can we wrap this up? I'm kind of done. You know?
Yeah, can we just stop? Can we just, everybody
how deadly could this shit be? 400,000 people? Sure, okay.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Fuck. Oh, you're telling me there's a more contagious strain that just popped up?
Cool.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, did you see the article? So some girl from Boston brought it back from the UK, and I'm like, what is this? Like now super COVID? Cool. Guess I'll see you in 2025, maybe.
Yeah, super COVID. You know, I'm going to write a novel. That's my next project. If we go back into lockdown, I'm writing a fucking book. Buy it on Amazon Kindle digital store.
Is that a thing still?
I think so. I don't know.
Maybe I'll just, you know what? I'll make it one long YouTube video and just have it scrolling text like a fucking teleprompter. You can read at my speed. There you go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we're gonna have that book show, and I'm just gonna be me writing a fucking book.
A book show. Also called Eddie's Book on Tape.
Yeah, my book on tape. And then this fucking happened, and then that happened. That's all the book's it's gonna be just me audiobooking on Audible this fall.
The year that wasn't.
Yeah, the year the world stood still, and was also extremely racist.
It made a shitload of history.
Yeah.
Can we stop? Like, I don't want any more historic events. I'm kind of done. I need a week off.
Yeah, I know. I am disappointed. After the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were saying crazy nonsense online.
Sure.
And look, Mike and I were both pro wrestling fans.
Sure.
And so like deep down, I root for the pro wrestling moment, right?
Sure.
You know, like right before the Patriots second Super Bowl against the Giants, right?
Okay.
So they lost the undefeated season, and then a few years later, they played the Giants again in the Super Bowl. They ultimately lost that. But one of the problems was that they didn't have enough like firepower on the offensive, like the wide receiver position that year. And so I was rooting for Randy Moss to come out of retirement to be on the team for that one day to then, play them and they'd win, right? Like that type of moment. So
you needed like a halftime run in, like, oh my God, it's Randy Moss.
Yeah, right. So like I root for that, even though I know full well rationally that that's not going to happen, right?
Sure.
That's just not going to happen. So when I see conspiracy theories online that like Donald Trump is going to ride in to Flight of the Valkyries on, a Pegasus winged horse and arrest everybody at the inauguration. And
you're just picturing the finale of Endgame.
Yeah. You know what I mean? when you're telling me that that's what's going to happen online because, God told you so or something. Here's the thing.
I had a vision.
I'm glad it didn't happen, but a little bit of me was watching that TV being like, I hope this motherfucker does it. I just want to see it happen. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to see the absurd nonsense of like, yes, Joe Biden swears in on the Bible and then Satan erupts from the Capitol. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna do it, like, the biggest disappointment is we had all those monoliths that were just like appearing and disappearing all around the world and fucking nothing happened. Could I have gotten one alien? Could I have gotten one?
It was just an elaborate Instagram post.
Some assholes and a Quincy Corey. And I'm just like, if we're going to have all this history, potential civil war, at least make me be able to watch it on TV or something.
Well, that's just it. It's like I said, it's like watching the inauguration, which was this morning. You guys are watching this probably tomorrow. It was like, after the year we've had, it's nice that things are pretty calm right now there. It's nice, but then I'm also like, what the fuck did I get up for?
Yeah.
I got up for fireworks. I want to see, 2 weeks ago, we had a guy with horns waving a flag. Where's that guy running in?
So
we got our pro wrestling moment, Eddie.
We did.
A faction of 80s wrestlers showed up to the Capitol a couple weeks ago.
I know, that did happen.
We had the Man Bear Pig. We had Baby Beard Boy. We had the whole fucking crew.
Zip tie guy. But Lady Gaga sang a song. I forget which one she sang. Either, Oh America or something. Maybe the national anthem. I don't remember. But I was seeing her and she's up on the balcony and I'm like, what would be awesome right now is if she jumped off of the balcony and then started singing Poker Face.
Look, I saw her Super Bowl halftime show with the drones and the shit. And it's like, where's all the pomp and this is respectful. Okay. Gotcha. we tend to forget because again, the year we've had has been like, I need more. Why isn't things on fire? Right? Oh, we're trying to be respectful today. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotta quell my anticipation here.
There was a guy on TikTok that I follow. He's a great source of news. He's a photographer for a bunch of different websites and stuff. And so he's been kind of all over all of this. Right. And so one of the things what he was saying is he's like, look, I'm gonna go downtown DC because that's where he lives.
Sure.
And I'm gonna see if there's any protests or anything like that. And he's just standing there in the middle of the street. It's empty. He's like, yeah, there's nobody here. There's just nobody here.
It's almost better. It's actually kind of better.
Oh no! Again, yay! Because
no, I'm in for the comedy factor. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but it's just
that sounds like a funny video. All right, we're here for the protest.
Nobody's here.
Maybe I'm early.
Nobody's here. Although to be fair, watching everybody that stormed the Capitol, starting to get arrested. And then being sad about it, like they didn't realize that they were committing treason, is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah. Even besides what they did, it's kind of more how they did it. It's like, dude, you literally didn't even try to hide your face.
You were live streaming it.
You were live streaming it.
You were live on Instagram. What are you talking about?
You were doing an insurrection for the gram, bro. How do you not know that that's going to come back? Like a dude sat there at who was it? Was it Pelosi's desk or whoever desk, literally posing his ass off for fucking Instagram pictures. It's like, how do you not think this is going to bite you in the ass?
Right.
Like there are times I would go places where it's like, I don't want my picture taken here just because I don't want to be seen out,
Right. Right. I don't want you.
And I'm not storming the castle. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm not storming the castle, man.
That's all I kept thinking of was fucking Billy Crystal. Have fun storming the castle.
Fucked. It was just so funny. It was like, because again, if you all just ran up and were outside, you were outside, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Cool.
Cool. You're having your voice heard. Awesome. Good for you. You know what I mean? But as soon as you start busting into the Senate floor and stealing podiums and like waving as you're just carrying a podium out. It's just like, at what point did you think that was going to be like totally
They
cool?
did multiple photo shoot setups. It's like I said, she had Man Bear Pig behind the I don't know what they call it in the room there. I don't know what they fucking call that, but he's sitting there waving the flag, and then the bunch of them were fucking hanging out in front of the door. I don't know what it's all called. Like I just don't.
The Senate.
But you all seen the pictures because we've all seen the pictures because they're fucking hilarious. And it's like, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, your whole face is like I remember like early on in COVID, when the riots happened in Boston that night, it's like at least those people were putting masks on.
Right.
And it wasn't because of COVID. They were doing it because they were breaking into stores.
And one asshole was just like, "Hi, my name's Jenna, and I can be your realtor." And it's just like, what?
This is not your time to plug your business, dude.
Don't plug your business. What are you talking about? Oh, but it was, and so like, look, am I glad we didn't get any of that energy at the inauguration? Sure, I'm glad. I'm
90% happy about it.
I'm a little disappointed we didn't get somebody to run up to the microphone at least and go, "The election was stolen, Baba Booey," and then just like take off.
Just go do a little old school shenanigans, maybe a streaker. I don't know, like something wacky where it's like, oh, he's not hurting anybody. Just tase him and be done with it. You know what I mean?
Tase him and carry him off.
Seriously, tase him and be done with it. Just watch the balls. It's easy. It's funny. It's cheeky. It's shenanigans.
Yeah, but we didn't get any of that energy, which again, I think is something that we all need, right?
We need a break.
That's the one thing. It's like we've been on a 4-year break.
We were historic events.
Yeah, we've been on a fucking 4-year bender, and now all of a sudden it's just like, hey, now you're grounded, and you got to go hang out with Grandpa. All right, you're gonna go hang out at Grandpa's house for the next 4 years.
Would that make like today be the first day of our hangover?
Yeah. Yes. Today, right now, we woke up and we're like still a little drunk. You know what I mean? Just like, oh so man.
Yeah, I finished the last beer at about 4 a.m. Give me a couple days.
We still have consequences we have to deal with. There's still an impeachment going on.
Oh, we got to return our cans to the fucking redemption centers. I mean, we got a bunch of cleaning. There's a bunch of puke points that we got to clean up. I mean, it's a mess still.
It's still a mess. But we're gonna be okay, I guess.
Whatever, man.
But it's also really funny because like one of the first things I watched, and I'm really sad, right? Trump comes out of office. He pardons a ton of people. Not one of them is Joe Exotic. And I'm like, I think that's out of the entire presidency of Donald Trump, the biggest failure is not pardoning or commuting Joe Exotic's sentence. Because Donald Trump, above all else, has now robbed us of single-handedly the greatest reality television star of all time. And single-handedly the greatest reality TV show we'll never get. Because, God damn it, Chrisley Knows Best may be one of the best reality television shows on the planet. Uh-huh. But it would pale in comparison to Joe Exotic and his weird eccentric ass shooting guns, hanging out with animals, hating Carol Baskin, who definitely murdered her husband.
Well, what's his sentence? How long's he got?
I don't know.
What did he? I'm like a fucking whatever that thing is that puts its head in the sand. Is it ostrich? Ostrich? Yeah, I'm kind of in that ballpark. I was actually having this conversation today. It's like I still haven't watched Tiger King. I'll be honest with you. I know, and it's like I think my thing was, it wasn't that I was avoiding it. Okay. And we'll get to movie talk in a second. I think we should segue into that in a minute. But like, I think my problem was when it came out, I just didn't watch it. Like, it wasn't like it looked, I don't know, it looked fine, I guess, but I just didn't watch it for no real reason. I wasn't actively avoiding it or anything.
He's got 22 years in federal prison. And
then it blew up. Instantly. And I'm like, there's no way it's going to live up to the hype. People are acting like it's the greatest thing ever. I think I was like, I want to say I was watching Glow or something else. I was watching something else, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And then it became like huge, and I'm like,
Yeah, by the time you got to it, it wouldn't have lived up to the hype because it was everywhere at that point. Yeah, I was early on in the
I remember
hype train.
we talked about it on the show. I remember you were like almost day one ish for that. But yeah, I'll get around to it. I guess I don't know. Maybe sometimes at some point.
It's fun. It's definitely fun.
It's not like it's going away. It's it's one of those things. It'll be there for fucking forever. I guess to segue into things that can do this forever. Apparently, Chris Evans. Is being talked about as coming back as Captain America in the MCU, even though Chris Evans and Marvel don't seem to know what the hell these stories are talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be bullshitting us also. They could be like, oh, I don't know what this is all about. And meanwhile, making deals behind our backs, which is, probably the smarter move. But so a lot of stories came out last week when we did Age of Ultron, of course, because WandaVision was coming out. The Captain America was looking at Chris. They were going to bring Chris Evans back to the MCU, even though when Endgame happened, he was very open and very public. He's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
Moving on.
One of the things is like the reports was he signed on for one picture deal as well as an option for more, right? Like that's what the initial reports were.
I like that because isn't there always an option for more? It's like,
yeah, there is.
The option is we're making a movie, Chris. Do you want to do Captain America? No. All right. Well, that was his option. I guess we'll option you next time around too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. The thing,
an option for more. Look that.
Yeah. What is that nonsense? I don't even know.
Uh-oh. Goddamn, studio's falling apart. Cats' heads are falling off.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was something metal. But it's like, yeah, if you're Chris Evans, why would you say no to that potential cash cow? Well, you don't.
And again, I talked about it briefly last week when we did Age of Ultron, because I had actually talked to Chris Evans when Age of Ultron was coming out. And first of all, he's played Captain America for now 11 years. And those movies made a fuck ton of money, I'm averaging. So he doesn't have to work ever again. No. The cash cow thing doesn't play in anymore when you have more money than you're ever going to be able to spend in your lifetime. Sure. He also doesn't seem like one of those, Nick Cage, I'm going to buy a dinosaur on an island type of people. No. So
he's a good Sudbury boy.
Yeah. So I don't think the money is playing into it. Plus, when I talk to him, it's like he's like a real actor. People forget that because he spent the last decade and change in superhero shit. Like Captain America, he was in Fantastic Four before that. But he's a real actor. Like one of the movies that we kind of clicked on when I was talking to him was indie about a terrible relationship called London. It was him and Jennifer Beal, and it was back in 05-ish. He put it out. Super depressing, but really well acted type of movie. And that's the shit that he wants to get back to doing acting as an actor. He also wants to start doing directing. I think he has. Jacob. Yeah, I think he has career goals that now, because he did all these Marvel movies, he can kind of do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and he can do the artistic shit now that he doesn't have to worry about a paycheck ever again.
Yeah.
Now I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I just would like to. I would hope that he would continue to do it just because selfishly. I'm also okay with if they wanted to bring Steve Rogers back and he's not playing Steve Rogers, I'm okay with that.
I don't know. And it's not about recasting because that doesn't bother me. I think Michael B. Jordan should be Black Panther. Plain and simple. Yeah. I don't give a shit that he was the villain in the first one, because that's another thing. They're talking about he's going to come back in Black Panther 2 as Killmonger. I'm like, no, that dude died. Why don't you just make him T'Challa and we'll move on, because he's a fantastic actor and can totally pull it the fuck off. And I would love to see him in those movies.
Right.
But we're not going to do that. So I don't really care about recasting. I find my feeling is more we did the Steve Rogers story. We did the Captain America story. Yeah. So if Steve Rogers, Captain America, was to show up in future MCU projects, whether it's movies or Disney Plus shows, I would want him to be so fucking small and tertiary that like I don't mind like if he pops up like old man Steve Rogers pops up for an episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't really give a shit. I think Chris Evans directed a couple episodes of that actually.
Probably. Yeah. I remember
hearing that.
My thing is like, again, I go back to the thing that we talked about a moment ago with like pro wrestling, moments.
Sure.
And when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, you know what I mean? Having the ability to just kind of pull that trigger and be able to have Captain America show up to like help save the day.
Sure.
Will
but
make
to that point, and to reference it to Hulk Hogan, as soon as that song hits and as soon as he comes out and he's tan like a hot dog and he's pulling his shirt off, and brother, and it's like, great, I love it, but I no longer have the urge or the need to see Hulk drop a leg or beat somebody up. You know what I mean? It's same thing with Ric Flair. Same thing. It's like, I love seeing me some Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan on TV, but I don't need them getting physical anymore. So it's like, if Steve Rogers is there, like, I don't need him getting into the fight anymore.
Right. When we had after Iron Man 3, there aren't any more Iron Man movies, right? So there aren't any more, right? But he appears in Spider-Man Homecoming, and he appears in Civil War, and then obviously the Avengers movies.
Sure.
And I would have rather him be in something like that, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. Like,
I don't need another Captain America movie.
Right. Like, we did that. We played out that story. It was great. The Captain America series is my favorite of the MCU. But I want new shit. Like, again, it's kind of how I feel about Star Wars as well. It's like, I'm good with the Skywalker shit. Like, there is literally a galaxy of stories to tell.
Yes.
Okay. Like, and that's why I loved what they did with Mandalorian. It's like, Luke was there for like 5 fucking seconds.
Right.
Right. So it's like, and that was perfect. It's like, that was the nostalgia pop I needed. It was good. It was emotional, but I don't need to, but everybody's like, oh, there's going to be a Luke spinoff show. No, I don't need that. No.
Yeah, no.
Tell me something new. We did the Skywalker story. Whatever your feelings are about the sequels, it's done.
Yes.
Tell me something new.
Right. Well, I'm really excited because Phase 4 officially kicked off last week.
Yeah.
It officially kicked off. We didn't really have a chance
we didn't talk about it because we hadn't watched it yet. Go ahead, because I know we both watched the first 2 episodes of WandaVision.
So WandaVision is out. Phase 4 has officially started in the MCU, and holy hell, do I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's a huge tone setter for where we're going in the MCU in terms of like how funky and weird this next phase is going to be.
Weird.
as a fan of television.
Yep.
As a fan of television, I absolutely love it because the 4:3 aspect ratio made me super happy that it was that square. I thought they did a great job with, the time period of the sitcom. I like those type of sitcoms, so it was fun to watch. And then, there was some weird nonsense. There's a lot of people that were expecting this to be a movie and like have shit happen, like crazy shit happen all the time online, and like fucking relax. But you've
literally got, what was about, they were 30-minute episodes, I think. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 60 minutes of a story.
Right.
Calm down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Calm down.
If it's going to be a movie, we have if you understand storytelling at all, you have to establish the base world that we live in first. And that's what these 2 episodes did, with like some weird things to let you know that like life isn't what it's supposed to be. And then next episode, all the nonsense is going to start. Also, if you paid attention and you watched the promotional material, you would see that 90% of the promotional material was from these 2 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's what I liked about it, because I saw 3 types of people after WandaVision came out. I saw basically 3 types of people online commenting on it. There were people who read the comics and knew exactly what was happening and were really happy about it and very excited about it.
Yeah.
There was people like me who didn't read the comics, are really into the movies, and are really excited to see where this weird fucking show is going to take us, because that's exactly the way to describe it. It's weird as hell.
Yeah.
And then there were people who, as you said, didn't understand it and didn't want to understand it and were just like, why didn't anything happen? It's like, because it's a story. And this is the first part of a story. I think there's going to be, 8 or 10 episodes?
I think 9.
9? Okay, so we got roughly 5 more hours of this.
Right.
Roughly, to tell a story. And that's what they're doing. And it's like, I'm like, the weird stuff was super cool, in my opinion. I thought they did it really well. I liked the throwback. And what I liked about the way they did the sitcom-y thing, and what I think they're going to be doing is, especially the way the second episode ended, it feels like almost every episode is going to take us through a decade, basically, of type of sitcom, because we got like, so it's basically they kind of spoofed Bewitched, and I think I Dream of Jeannie, right?
Yeah, it seemed like I Dream of Jeannie.
I mean, the second episode's opening was definitely Bewitched. It was literally
100%.
Beat for beat, the animation and everything was Bewitched, which was fucking awesome. And then it basically they started to, without spoiling too much, they started to colorize the very last bit of the second episode, which I think is going to take us into like 60s-ish, probably.
Yeah.
That type of era. So
it looks like when it ended, it looked like it was going to be Brady Bunch.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. And you mentioned the promotional material, and in some of the teasers, you definitely saw stuff that is going to come up because it was colorized, first of all. And it's like, it looks like you get some 70s stuff in there because she was dressed as a hippie in one of them. And so you're going to go through those phases of sitcoms, but it's the under the surface shit that I thought was really cool. Yeah. And again, having no knowledge of the comic books, I recognized that logo was important. And I'm not going to go into what I read online about it.
But here's the thing. If you want, I'm going to be releasing tomorrow like an actual review.
Okay.
So follow me on my YouTube channel, The Eddie McCabe, and it'll be up there tomorrow. And so I kind of break into all that stuff. So if you do want to learn about it, you can go watch it there.
Very cool. Throw a link it over to the Facebook page too.
Yes.
Like when you put it up, do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Push all the buttons. And but so it's like, but I didn't know what that logo was until I saw one of those, here's all the Easter egg videos. Yeah. But I knew it was fucking important. You know what I mean? Like it was enough of a scene where I'm like, that's going to mean something down the road. And I can't wait for them to tell me what that means. Well,
and the crazy thing is that so I know what that logo is, and I recognized it right away, and immediately it all connects stuff together, right? Because that logo explains, if you know what it is, the after the credits scene with Nick Fury in Spider-Man
Captain Marvel or
Far From Home.
Was it that? No, it was.
There was 2 of them, because there was one where it was.
I was thinking the one where he was up on the spaceship on vacation.
Yeah, that's
Captain Marvel, right?
No, it's Far From Home.
Really?
Yeah, because there were 2 for Far From Home. There was that one.
Interesting.
And then there was also the one where J. Jonah Jameson knows he's Peter Parker.
Okay.
So those were the 2.
Okay, I thought the Nick Fury on vacation was from the end of Captain Marvel.
No, the end of Captain Marvel was her showing up, answering the pager.
Right.
And it was literally the beginning of Endgame.
Right.
Where's Nick? I'm here. Like
gotcha.
that was the Captain Marvel one. So, but immediately you know that what that connection is, right? And so we're off on the races there. There's some really cool stuff with a couple of the actors, and if you paid attention to the names and the credits of who these people are, it's like, oh wow, that's so and so. I didn't realize that, and so there is a much like we talked about with Age of Ultron last week. If and you're like paying attention to these Marvel movies and you're paying attention to those things, maybe you're not going to know initially what what this organization is or who this character is. But as soon as you kind of like talk to somebody and like, hey, I saw this thing and I don't really know what it is. You're like, hey, that's so-and-so. And you're like, what? Oh man, that's even crazier. And now I really want to know what's going to happen.
Well, and I think my biggest question and the thing I'm looking forward to seeing revealed, and it's kind of hinted in because she keeps having these not really visions, but like she keeps hearing the voices talking to her, Wanda, that is.
Right.
And I'm like, because I want to know how and where this is taking place. Because we all saw Vision die. We know Vision is dead from Endgame or Infinity War. And now it's like, okay, where are we in the world? Because also
physically,
time travel and multiverse now exist as well,
right?
In this MCU. So where are we? And where does this play in? And who the hell keeps talking to her through the radio? You know what I mean? All this little shit.
Who's
and it's like
the next door neighbor?
Yeah, it's because she's clearly spooky and weird, intentionally. And there's just weird moments like when the boss comes to dinner, when Vision's boss comes to dinner, and there was that tense moment where it's like, why is this getting dark all of a sudden? For lack of again, I'm trying not to spoil too much because people still haven't watched it. But it's like, why is this getting dark? You know, and why is she being weird? And why is he? It's like, But it's also it's like, Marvel, so they're gonna tell us
controlling it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
who's controlling it? Why? You know what I mean? Is it? Oh, it's just it's crazy. And again, I think that people just kind of want to be spoon-fed stuff sometimes,
but the funny thing is, it's the impatience of that, because it's, again, like I said, it's Marvel, so you are going to be spoon-fed what this is. You just have to wait a little bit. You gotta wait a couple weeks. You know what I mean? And I think it's also, it plays into, we've been so conditioned through services like Netflix that drop the entire series in one shot. So it's like people are used to the old way of binge watching, which now Disney Plus has obviously changed to a weekly format. HBO Max has adopted the weekly format. So but not everybody is, because I know CBS All Access dropped Chickless's new show Coyote in one full season.
Okay.
So it's like there's still, I think everyone's kind of grabbing their footing and seeing what works for them type of thing.
Yeah.
But what it is it's almost kind of like you have to retrain the public now, because it's like, look, I understand that you're used to streaming an entire show in one afternoon. I get it.
Yeah. Right.
But that's not how we're going to do it over here. So you can either wait and watch the whole thing in a couple weeks, or you can go week to week, or you can do both. Because fuck, man, I watched Mandalorian week to week. My brother's someone who waits to the end. He tries to avoid spoilers at all costs, and he waits to the end and binge watches through, and that's the way he watches. But I watched it week to week, and then at the end, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm going back and watching the whole damn thing again, because I mean, it was good. Now there are some that probably they all can't be winners, so there's going to be some you're like, all right, well, one and done, I'm good.
Yeah, right.
But I think a show like this, especially how layered the story is, I think it's going to be one of those where I'm going to watch it every week, but I think at the end I'm going to have to kind of go back and go through them all, because it's like, if I have a real Westworld feeling, because when I first watched Westworld on HBO, I watched the first 8 episodes of season 1 in one afternoon, or one friggin' day. It was 8 hours.
Yeah, sure.
And it's a great binge watch, because there's so many timelines and stories going on that if you watch it week to week, you're probably going to be lost. I know I was, because we watched the final 2 weeks week to week, and I'm like, wait a minute,
where are we?
Where are we? So I feel with WandaVision having all of the subtext, all the underneath shit, it's like it's going to be one of those that I'll watch week to week, but I'm probably going to go, because I'm going to miss a lot. I know I'm going to miss a lot, just because I don't have the backstory of the comic books, in my brain. So I'm going to probably go back at the end, and especially because it's like they're only half-hour episodes. So it's like binge watching like one of the Netflix's like comedy shows like Glow or something. It's like I can do that in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you
done.
can burn through it. It's going to be interesting, especially when we kind of get kicked back up into gear, because we have Black Widow this year. I don't think we're going to have. Well, it's on the slate, right? Because we're going to have that. I mean, I think that if it misses its due date of, I think in May, I think they're just going to throw it on Disney Plus, whether it is Premier Access or not. That's to be seen.
Either way, they just get it out, because again, again, it's one of those things like I don't know where this is taking place because obviously Black Widow died in the last movie, so it's got to be a prequel.
Yeah,
but
it takes place after Civil War. I know that's the plan, but I have no idea how it intersects and why we're doing it now. Captain America and the Winter Soldiers in March, or Falcon and the Winter Soldiers in March.
Yeah, and that's I believe done, and I think Loki is in fall, and that's going to be another what looks like to be a bonkers show,
right? And well,
because that's all time travel and shit.
Yeah, and that's supposed to feed into both the Spider-Man sequel and the Doctor Strange sequel.
Because Scarlet Witch is in at least Doctor Strange.
Probably.
I think I read that one. She's going to be part of that.
And then every Spider-Man ever is going to be involved in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, that one's getting all weird and bonkery too, but fine, I'm there for it.
Yes.
Again, it's like they haven't steered me wrong yet. And we talked about it last week. They even made Dark World relevant.
No.
It's like it took about 10 years, but they made that fucking movie relevant too.
I know.
But let's see. Before we jump into Ready Player One, there's one more story I want to hit on.
Sure.
So Paramount is jumping into the streaming service as well.
Yeah.
So they announced this past week that Viacom and CBS are going to launch Paramount Plus. Clever name. Paramount Plus is going to launch March 4th here in the U.S. and Latin America. And basically, after reading the article, so their logo is the classic Paramount Pictures logo. It's the blue with the mountain, the stars, Paramount with the plus sign, and then beneath it says live sports, breaking news, and a mountain of entertainment. So just reading that, I'm gathering they're going to take basically kind of what Disney did with the Disney bundle, which is Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu. Right. And Paramount is just going to put it all under one house. They're going to put it all under one service. Hence live sports, breaking news, which I'm guessing because they're also CBS, they're probably going to have the news programming on there as well. Now, CBS already has CBS All Access, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. They just put Michael Chiklis' new show Coyote up. But what's going to happen, it feels very much like what HBO did when Max came out, where they're going to reskin basically CBS All Access as Paramount Plus. So if you're already a CBS All, much like I was an HBO Now subscriber. So when HBO Max launched, because I clicked basically the update button, it just auto updated HBO Now into HBO Max. So you got all the HBO content plus all the extra stuff. And that kind of feels like what Paramount is doing, where they're going to have all the CBS content you already have on All Access plus more stuff. Now, for me, it's like Chiklis' show was the first thing that really interested me with CBS All Access.
Okay.
I still haven't watched it. I was actually going to get like a free one of those free trial things and just watch the show in a weekend. But now it's like, this is going to be another thing that I'm probably going to, just because of my, addiction to all this shit. It's probably going to, because you're going to lose all wherever the Paramount movies are right now, which are probably scattered across the streaming services.
Right.
They're going to eventually, much like Warner movies, are going to eventually all be housed under HBO. The Paramount ones are all going to be housed under this, in my opinion. Right. Plus, when you look at it, you got it's Viacom CBS. So you got all the CBS TV properties. You got stuff like all the bar rescues like that, all the stuff on Paramount Network. Viacom also owns MTV. So this is where you're going to find your Jersey Shores and all that stuff.
Right. They own Nickelodeon. So it's where you're going to get SpongeBob.
Yep.
It'll be interesting because I'm a huge fan of Peacock, right? I really, really like Peacock. I think it's a really good service. The problem that I have with Peacock is that I think that the rollout of their universal content has been lacking. It doesn't feel like everything's up there. It doesn't feel like everything's making its way there. And hopefully, if Paramount decides that they want to throw their hat into this ring, they have really good stuff. Top Gun is one of the first movies. Clue is another that I can think of right off the top of my head. The
I mean, they have
Indiana Jones films.
The majority of basically until he did Nutty Professor, all Eddie Murphy's movies before that.
Right.
So Beverly Hills Cop, Trading Places, Coming to America, all that stuff was Paramount. I mean, I didn't even think about it until you just mentioned Top Gun. That's probably what they're doing. That's probably why they're pushing this out now in March, because they got the Top Gun sequel's been pushed back and pushed back. They're probably like, all right, well, we see what HBO is doing when they're pulling all their theater movies onto this. Let's do that.
Right.
And we can get it out. And look, we're not going to make $1 billion at the box office, but we're not going to make $1 billion at the box office now anyway.
Right.
So we might as well make 100 million. You know what I mean?
I just would hope that because like I said, Disney has done a great job. Now Disney has been slowly like pulling their stuff back off of Netflix and things like that. But I can't think of anything that is Disney related that for like obvious reasons isn't on there, right? Like Song of the South isn't on there.
I wasn't thinking of that one.
That's for obvious reasons.
We discussed doing a special Halloween crossover episode with our friends Bill and Danny with a couple of park hoppers, and it was going to be a watch along of the Steve Guttenberg classic Tower of Terror, which was actually filmed in the Florida parks. It's not available anywhere.
That's weird.
It's very weird because all those old dumb movies like Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion is on there. All the old 80s
Mr.
TV
Boogedy
movies.
or whatever.
Mr. Boogedy is on there. Fucking the Boogedy movies are on there, both of them. But yeah, that one is not available on Disney Plus. It's not available anywhere. So that one I found strange. But again, it could be one of those things that's just like, we'll get around to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We'll get around to putting
Nobody's clamoring for the Gutenberg Tower of Terror movie. So, you know.
Yeah, right.
Maybe someone just hasn't clicked that. It's at the bottom of the alphabet. Maybe they're just going that way. You know?
Maybe. But that's the type of thing where it's just like, I would hope that they kind of unload all that stuff because that's what makes it worth it originally, right?
Sure.
It's you got to get me with these classic movies that I want to watch, and then we'll get there eventually. Like, why hasn't the Harry Potter movies been put on HBO Max yet?
They are, aren't they?
I don't know. Every single time I've looked, it's on the.
They've definitely been on there. They might be pulled off at the moment. Let me see here.
Harry Potter. Oh yeah. What do I get? I got T-Mobile Vision.
The fuck is that?
I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's just like, how is that not on HBO Max?
I would assume it's some kind of, much like a lot of the movies that you find, I would assume it's a licensing and a contract thing that they probably already had pre-existing. Let's see where it is. So let me go real good. Let's go Harry Potter. I mean, there's like 90 movies. So I'm just going to click on one. I don't know. Oh, yeah, T-Vision, huh? I know they were I know HBO Max had some of the Harry Potters when it first launched. And I'm not going to go through every single fucking one of them to find out. But I'm guessing it has something to do with a licensing thing. I'm sure
it has to be a TV license.
It has to be. And I know that they were constantly on like the Turner networks. So I think I think Turner is now part of Disney because I think Fox might have owned them.
Yeah,
I think the Turner networks went to Disney in that whole Fox deal. So, I mean, I'm guessing it has something to do with that. And that's why a lot of, like you mentioned, Disney's pulling all their stuff from Netflix and stuff like that. But it's like, that's the reason. If you find a movie that so obviously should be on this service because they own it and it's not, it's probably because of an existing license. Like you can find the first three Die Hards, or I should say the only Die Hard movies on HBO Max, as well as Hulu, I believe. But it's like they're a Fox movie, so now John McClane is a Disney princess, but it's also available over on
it's a Christmas movie, and he's a Disney princess.
Exactly. I just saw somebody made a fan art type of thing because Sons of Anarchy is an FX show. FX is owned by Fox. Fox is now owned by Disney, so they made a Gemma Teller is a Disney princess picture, and it was pretty fucking awesome.
That's pretty funny. That's great.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited because we're going to have a whole other service. I'm not excited to spend another $14 a month, which is probably what it's going to be about. I'm guessing it's going to be in the $14 range when I'm seeing that, the live sports breaking news. It means it's going to be all under one. It's not going to be like, here's just our movies to start with type of thing.
Yeah, right.
And much like, in Disney's case, because, Disney Plus is what, $6 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not like Paramount has a bunch of different services. Like you can get like I said, Disney, Hulu, and ESPN bundle for $12 type of thing.
Right.
My guess is it's all going to be under this Paramount Plus app.
Oh, and, you're just going to have...
It'll be 13 to 14.
I wish that HBO Max had live TV, like live HBO, because the only thing that they don't have that I really wish that they did was, like, I am a huge fan of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it, but I don't have the ability to watch it live.
Gotcha.
So because like that show is new at 10 and I got to wait till the next day to watch it.
Next day. It's a weird one because HBO Now did have that service.
Right.
And Showtime, I just got Showtime back, and that has a live service. That's a weird one.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily need to have a HBO channel, but I should be able to have like a, kind of like what YouTube does, right? YouTube has the premiere feature for videos.
Sure.
So like this video goes live at 10. The earliest you can watch it is at 10 p.m., and there's even a countdown, if you get there a little early, you get there a couple minutes early, there's a countdown and stuff like that.
Very but loud too.
What?
The music they play, the countdown.
Oh, yeah.
Loud.
Yeah. Yes. But that's the, like I would prefer something like that, because
really
I would like to watch John Oliver live because I think he's very fun.
Yeah, they don't have a live feature. It'd be a nice addition. But I guess if that's our only complaint.
Yeah. No, it's a good service. I'm watching Doctor Who on there currently.
I just started another series. They put I mentioned it months ago. They put a bunch of God damn it, what's his name? Alan Partridge on there. So Steve Coogan had this character, Alan Partridge, and it's a British show, and he did a bunch of different ones. The big problem was he did a bunch of different shows as this character. It wasn't like he had one show and these were all seasons, so they're scattered all over the place, and they just added another one of the shows, so I just started that one.
I think
it's like Time Up or something like that. I don't fucking know, but it's an Alan Partridge.
Sure.
It's funny and dumb.
Okay.
So I'm started that one. Paramount Plus March 4th. So we'll have more news next month on that. Ready for Ready Player One?
I'm ready for Ready Player One.
My name's Wade Watts. My dad picked that name because it sounded like a superhero's alter ego, like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. But he died when I was a kid. My mom too. And I ended up here. Sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere. Except the Oasis. A whole virtual universe.
Let me take you on a trip around the world and back.
People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do.
And you won't have to really sit still.
But they stay because of all the things they can be.
Can you feel this?
Let me show you the world.
Yeah. It's the only place that feels like I mean anything. The Oasis was the brainchild of James Halliday.
Hello. If you're watching this, I'm dead. I created a hidden object, an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Who is this Parzival, and how the hell is he winning?
Find him. This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
The Oasis, the world's most important economic resource. And it's nothing less than a war for control of the future.
Welcome to the rebellion, Wade.
Like many of you, I only came here to escape. But I found something much bigger than just myself. Are you willing to fight? Help us save the Oasis.
Ready Player One was released March 29th, 2018. It had, hang on a second, screen just fucked up. It had a budget of $155 to $175 million. One day I'll find out why there's always a variance in there. It had a box office of $582.9 million. It was written by Zach Penn and Ernest Cline, directed by Steven Spielberg, and it starred Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cook, Ben Mendelsohn, guess he's the villain, T.J. Miller, Simon Pegg, and every 80s pop culture reference you could fucking think of.
Yeah. I didn't see, this was the first time I'd ever seen this movie. I know you had seen it prior.
In 4D.
Wow. Was this a very punchy movie?
No, it wasn't. Okay. When I watched this for the first time, the only reason I picked 4D because it was the only theater showing it at that time that I wanted to go to the movie. When I first watched it, I came out of it saying that was a really okay movie. It was like, it was fine, but the 4D made it a lot better because it's not a punchy movie, but it's a very floaty movie. There's a lot of gliding and stuff. So the seats were kind of floating, and it was nice because the 4D thing really kind of immersed you in this world that they're in. I've since watched it. I think this was my second rewatch at home, maybe third.
Okay.
It's gotten better each time I've watched it. Not to the point I'm like, this is great. It's not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like, oh my God, this is better every time. Right. But it's like, this is now a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a really good movie. The entire time I was watching it, I kept thinking about that movie with the two people. I know this description's fantastic. I keep wanting to say it's Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, but it's definitely not that. It's the Valerian. Valerian is the movie, and the Station of 1,000 Planets. Have you ever seen that?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we'll have to do that eventually on this show.
All right.
It felt very similar to that. And I was just like, man, there's a lot happening here. Mm-hmm. And I am enjoying my viewing experience. I am enjoying watching this movie. It's fun. It's light. I'm on a Steven Spielberg adventure.
Yep.
But you know what? In the world of streaming services and the world of like new content in the way that it's kind of distributed, this probably would have been better as like a 10-part 1-hour series. Like, I think there was a lot of stuff we could have like really delved into and really kind of really explored a lot of stuff because, when we talk about like movies like this, there are, and movies kind of in general, like movies that become either franchises or movies that become sequels or get sequels. There are movies like The Hangover where I care about the plot of this movie and the plot is the star. And once I don't have that anymore, the sequels aren't good. Right? Or, you have something like Star Wars or Indiana Jones where it's just like, oh, I really, really like this character and I want to see what this person does. And then you have something like John Wick 1 where it's like, oh, this world is very interesting. And I really want to explore what this world is like. John Wick is also hyper badass and I like the fight scenes, but the world... Keanu. But everything around this world that they've set up is really cool. And it falls into that third category where the Oasis and subsequently the mirror of the real world are just so interesting. And I really, really wanted to spend more time in there, and I wanted to spend more time with the High Five, as they ended up becoming called. I thought that they were fun and interesting. Their dynamic was really fun. I thought that the Evil Corporation was really stupid, but I thought that the whole plot and the whole fun of it was an enjoyable experience, even though it might not have been the greatest movie ever.
Well, and I think what you're missing is because it's based on a book. So there was a lot of stuff that obviously couldn't be explored because of the constraints of a runtime. And it was a 2 hour and 20-minute movie.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
And that's the thing. Like, I remember last night when I was pulling up to start it, I'm like, 220. Shit, that's long. But then I sat down this morning to watch it, and I'm like, it didn't feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like it did move very, there was no real, because I'm like, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Where could I trim some stuff? And I'm like, there's really not a shitload you could pull. It's his family dynamic with the aunt and the shitty boyfriend. It's like, but that's like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not like you're saving time by dumping that part of the story. Because even to the fact that they get blown up by the evil corporation, it's like there's no emotional impact because he hated them. It's the mean corporation blowing up his aunt and shitty boyfriend literally just got him out of a bad situation.
Yeah, right.
He was living.
It was kind of like when the Empire destroys his aunt and uncle. It's
exactly.
We're kind of sad about it, but really, it's really freeing.
Right. He's living with people who hate him. And who are abusing him. Like the boyfriend is just a terrible human being.
Oh, absolutely.
The worst part about the evil corporation blowing up the aunt and boyfriend was the boyfriend was wearing his suit.
Yeah, right.
That's what I took out. I'm like, oh man, you just got that suit, and he was wearing it when he died. It's like that's gonna be gross to peel off.
It's still salvageable.
I mean, I don't know how those suits are made in 2045, but are they fireproof? Are they? I mean, does he just I don't know, do they melt? Are they like a human oven?
I don't know. Oh.
We're going to put this suit on convection bake.
Yeah. It's got 5 feet.
Also, speaking of that, this only clicked today when I was watching it. The stacks, as they're referred to, which is basically a vertical trailer park, seems really like a smart idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? As far as trailer parks go, this seems like it should be something we're trying to implement now.
Yeah, just space-wise.
You know what I mean? It's like you can put way more people. Build vertically. You just go, shit.
Yeah, it's weird.
Why do people buying $1 million condos in Boston be the only ones that have to go up? The rest of us go out.
Yeah, we all got to go out. We got to go up. I don't know. But yeah, it was, there wasn't much to trim. The problem with this movie is that it is long, but it's very watchable from start to finish. There's not really any place where it really lags. Sure. I think that the relationship between our two main leads, could be flushed out a little bit more. I feel like we go from zero to pizza in the, real quick when it comes to, them falling in love, I guess. But other than that, I think it's, like I said, I think it's very smooth.
There was definitely moments within the game, within the OASIS, that I think the last time I watched it was before I got back into playing Grand Theft Auto. And now that I've been in, TJ Miller's character clicked with me immediately, way more now than it did before. Especially at the end when Ben Mendelsohn is trying to kill the entire game, basically. And it's a throwaway line. It's funny on the surface, but if you actually spend time playing these types of online games, it really hits home where he's like, hey man, I got 10 years worth of shit inside of me. You can't kill my character. And it's like, I completely get that. I got a whole pandemic worth of shit that if my character got wiped, I'd probably have a bad day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. That's so funny. I was waiting for what's his name? Shaun of the Dead. I was waiting for him to show back
Simon
up.
Pegg.
I thought he was going to Simon Pegg. I was expecting Simon Pegg to be TJ Miller's character.
It was. I thought when they revealed him as the curator, it was a clever reveal.
I did too.
Especially because it was weird because he's an English guy doing a fake American accent, then the character is doing a fake British accent.
Yes.
Fucking Inception, if you will, but it was a cool reveal the first time. And then it's one of those things, once you know it, it's like, all right, I get it.
Yeah, it was really cool. The whole thing was really fun. All the conventions were really fun. The references were fantastic. I don't know if I mentioned it before the record, but how did this movie that takes place in 2047 have a better soundtrack and more 80s references than the movie that was set in 1984?
Are you talking about our bonus review of Wonder Woman last week?
I am talking about our bonus review of
Wonder Woman 1984, which includes basically nothing from the 80s except one scene in a mall that didn't even have leg warmers.
Yeah. It's just like, are you for real? He drives a DeLorean.
Oh, the whole thing was on like it was so well done with the pop culture shit. And it's funny because going into the movie, I didn't know it was a book when I first saw it. And I'm like, wow, that's really like well thought out and well done. And I'm like, oh, it's a book, and you read all the stuff, and it's like, okay, now I get it. But the setup of the character, the guy who created the game, I'm blanking on his name at the moment.
The guy that wrote the book?
No. The character in the game, the character. No, not Wade. No, it's my fucking deal, Wade. Oh my god, all day watching that movie. I just kept hearing William H. Macy from Fargo. It's my fucking deal, Wade. Hang on, I'm scrolling here. My fucking deal. I fucking love that movie.
Fucking deal, Wade.
It's my fucking deal, Wade. What the fuck is the guy's name? Jesus Christ. Nope, not him. Halliday. No. Fucking James Halliday.
Oh, okay.
So his character being basically like the super nerd of all nerds.
Yes.
Was so well put together.
Right. He was video game Willy Wonka.
100%. And it was basically like what you found out in the end is that the OASIS, this game that he created, was basically allowing the world to step into his brain.
Yes.
Like he created a virtual version of his brain. Like even going into, I guess it popped up when he died. Basically the Holiday Museum or where the fuck Parzival keeps going into.
Weird. Yeah, the curation or whatever.
Yeah. So it was basically like all of his memories, all of his things, whether and I like the way they described it kind of well. It was like, oh, they took diary entries and animated them, or they found security camera footage from The Office, or webcam things from this, and it's like
his favorite video game,
because the plot hole would have been, well, where the hell did they get that footage of them?
Yeah,
so they yada a little bit, but it's also like, okay, these guys are working in a video game thing. They got webcams all over the place. Of course they do. There you go.
Right.
Problem solved. Movies like this with so many references.
I know.
I always go back to like, God, the licensing of this shit alone must have cost a fortune.
Yeah.
Because it's not
such a bloated budget.
It's a Warner Brothers movie, but you got properties from everywhere.
Yeah, I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I saw Godzilla.
RoboCop, Godzilla, King Kong, Chucky, Freddy, Jason, all
Back
of
to
those.
The Future, which is iconically a Universal thing.
Yep. And a lot of it too. Like if you noticed in H's workshop, the Goldie Wilson poster was in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of the workshop, the Iron Giant.
Yep.
Chuck. Yeah, I mentioned Chucky, which was just a great reveal.
That was really fun.
We also got our one PG-13
Monty Python.
The holy hand grenade, Monty Python, yeah. The Zemeckis Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, right.
Which again, literally used the Back to the Future music.
Yep. They referenced Bill and Ted.
Buckaroo Banzai was the suit he was wearing.
Yeah.
Saturday Fever. I mean, we're just and the fact is we're completely like the tip of the iceberg here. We
Oh,
haven't even
yeah.
start like there's YouTube videos and there's places you can go and find all the references, and there are a lot of them. I mean, granted, I think probably the one I remember in the theater, the one I got really excited for, and they did an amazing job of recreating, was The Shining.
Yeah, that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that at all. I loved that. One of I popped for it, which was the Gundam when Show or the other guy turned into the giant robot to fight Mechagodzilla.
Yep.
Oh man, I absolutely loved that. It was fantastic.
So all right, little bit of just diving into the story, I guess. So Wade, my fucking deal, Wade Watts, which again, his name is explained in the movie as his dad thought it sounded like an alter ego for a superhero like Clark Kent, which clever.
Or Wade
clever.
Wilson.
That's what I kept thinking too. And I'm like, I don't know when this book was written. So I
right.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
But
was Deadpool a real real big thing?
right, exactly. So Wade, Wade, also known as Parzival, which is just a terrible gamer name.
Awful.
In the history of bad gamer names, that one's tough. But they also, I found it weird because his friends in the game keep calling him Z.
Yeah, and it's
which
just
I
like,
thought it's a weird
from
nickname
Parzival?
because it's like the Z in Parzival is in the middle of the name. It would either be P or not.
Yeah, right. Right.
You're either pronouncing that shitty name or calling him P or something, or I don't know, Val, because VAL is the last three, or Par.
Yeah,
Parzival. I don't know where the Z came from, unless they're just like, hey, there's a Z in his name. We're going with it.
Yeah, we're just going with Z. It's not even like his name's Wade.
Fucking Wade. Fucking deal, Wade. So
yeah,
apparently the Oasis is the most affordable game ever because
literally,
and it's also the only game.
Yes,
because everyone has it and
so
everyone is constantly playing it.
So it seems like it's one of those deals where it's free to play, but because like Star Wars Online is free to play, but if you want cool shit, you got to spend money. You got to spend real money. So I feel like it's kind of like that, where it's like
transactions.
Right. It's like, look, anybody can go into the Oasis.
Sure.
But if you want if you want the DeLorean, you might have to spend real money, or play this
just,
sort of
or
stuff.
grind your ass off, basically.
Right.
Which is, it seems like that's what Parzival has done. It seems like he's because obviously he's poor as shit. But in the contrast to it, his aunt's shitty boyfriend spent all their money. Like apparently they were saving money for years to buy a house. It was a very quick scene where they explained it.
Yeah, they explained it.
But he spent all his money in game to make a character, but because Wade took the good gloves and left him with the broken shitty gloves, he died and lost all their real life money. Which, as someone who played, like I said, I play Grand Theft Auto online, and I've never spent a dime.
Right.
It's like, it's a game. I'm not like, I'm an adult. I have real world problems that require my money. I'm not going to spend it to get the cool car, but I'll sit there for hours on end and grind my fucking ass off. And I have a bunch of beautiful cars online.
Yes, of course.
But there are people that do that in Grand Theft Auto. They're called shark cards, which is their version of credit cards. So you can actually spend real money. So I get that premise. But yeah, it feels like this game, the Oasis, which it stands for a lot of large words.
Of course it does.
Let's see.
Don't try it. Don't try it. It's not worth it.
I'm just trying to get the first one.
Yeah, not worth it.
Ontologically.
Sure.
Ontologically. All right, that's one. Ontologically. Anthropocentric. Try it again. Anthropocentric. I'm going to go with that. Anthropocentric. Sensory. Got it.
Nailed it.
Immersive. I'm getting good.
Nailed it.
Simulation. Booyah.
Boom. Nailed it.
Oasis. So it's obviously something bigger than any game or even system that we've encountered in reality. Because as I said, everyone uses it. It's basically the OASIS is this movie's version of what we have social media now.
Right.
Where everyone's just literally in their own world and they can't see past their noses.
Right.
And they kind of established that in Wade's intro, where he leaves his aunt's trailer because they have stacks. He has to do kind of like a
parkour.
Yeah, it's basically like the intro to fucking Pee-wee's Big Adventure. It's just instead of cereal, it's him actually leaving an apartment.
Yeah, right.
But it's a similar situation, you know. And so he's leaving, but as he's jumping down and sliding down poles and shit like that, you see through people's windows and everyone's playing this fucking game.
Yeah, they're doing different things.
Yeah, and there's
one
a mom,
a stripper.
There's a woman that's a stripper. One mom is in a battle and her kid's yanking on her robe and she gets killed. So everyone is involved. Everyone's involved in this fucking game. And to the point that literally the biggest corporation, which is IOI, run by Ben Mendelsohn's character, shockingly, again, he's a villain.
Yeah, I know.
Color me surprised.
Nolan Sorrento.
Yeah, Sorrento.
I like that, like at least on Wikipedia, next to the cast, they get the character's name and then their gamer tag.
Oh,
so
that's fun.
Like Artemis, instead of an E, has a 3 on it, type of thing.
Oh, okay.
And his is IOI-6555321.
Yeah. All right.
Fuck this game.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So they're not only the biggest company, I guess, in the world of Ready Player One, but they're basically.
They're also like a competitor, I guess.
Well, so they're a number 2 gaming company, but in this world, that seems like gaming is all this world has anymore. I don't know what happened, but apparently this world has.
Yeah, I love that their whole thing, like their big evil scheme, is that we're going to add pop-up ads. We figured out the number that will allow them to have as many pop-ups on screen before we cause epilepsy.
Yep. It was a wonderful scene because he's like, yeah, we can sell. It's a cat behind you.
Yeah, it's Daisy. Hi,
Daisy. We can sell 80% of the player's field of vision and it's like you're expecting him to say something like, before we get complaints, before we get this, before they stop playing. No, before we induce seizures.
Yeah, right. That's it. Before we induce seizures, we can fill up 80% of their screen. And then they like show it, and it's just like, oh my God, you are so evil. This is the most evil corporation I've seen in a movie. Because this would suck.
Again, having the mind thought of mind thought, that's not a fucking phrase, but having the thought process of coming from playing Grand Theft Auto for the last, for the pandemic, basically. Yeah, that's kind of what, like, the notifications, like, because your player has a phone, an in-game phone, right? So you're getting phone calls you can't block, text messages and emails, and they're popping up constantly, and it's all to simulate you paying more money to get more shit. You know what I mean? And it's like you almost get to a point where you're playing the game just so you can rage buy this thing so you never get a notification again. Trust me, I bought a yacht last week just to get rid of the fucking emails I got every goddamn. I mean, spent $10 million in-game dollars just to stop one notification from popping up. That's how you do. You got to do it one at a time.
That's
and break them down.
The only time that I've ever spent money on something like that was, I got into one season of Fortnite. Okay. So the way that Fortnite works is that there's like levels, and I think it's either like 1 to 50 or 1 to 99, something like that. And if you can do free and you can get free stuff, but if you give them the like $20 for the season pass, you get all the cool shit. I don't know if you're familiar with Fortnite, but it was like, you get all the costumes and all the axes and all the dances and all this other stuff. And it tells you, like, when you level up, it's just like, oh, you got the, like, you know, the Deadpool costume, but you didn't pay, so you don't get to actually use it. But if you give us money, you can. And it's just like, you know, so I was playing it at the beginning of the pandemic. It's funny because I busted my Joy-Con on, because I was playing on my Switch, and I busted my Joy-Con playing it.
What's the Joy-Con?
It's the controller.
Okay.
That's what they call it. But like basically
what?
But that's what there's like a problem.
I just call it my dick, but I don't know what Joy-Con.
Yeah, you know, I'm younger than you.
There you go. I'm not up with all the hip terms.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, but that's you feel that. You feel guilted into it almost.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or you're just so annoyed after so long that you're like, oh god, all right, fine. I'll spend the night selling all my guns and drugs just to get rid of this fucking notification.
I'll spend an entire day selling drugs so that I can buy this fake thing.
So I can buy this fucking yacht I just don't need.
Yeah.
But I got the name with the implication, so I'm good.
Yeah. Good.
So in the game, Halliday, the creator, basically
before he died.
Yeah. So his will, basically, when he died, was tasking all the users of this game on a quest, and it was to find the Easter egg in the game. And to find the Easter egg, you had to find 3 keys. And if you did all that and you got to the final and you got the Easter egg, you would own the game, which I guess is valued at $500 trillion.
Something like that.
Some
absurd amount of money.
Plus, you control the game, so you can do whatever the fuck you want with it.
That's why IOI wants it, is so they can add their pop-ups, because they can't do that currently.
Right. And so you get, obviously, our hero, Wade, who's trying to, I guess, I mean, he's not even like really going for the key and the egg thing. I mean, it's kind of their mantra, but it seems like he's a low-level player. Like, he even says in that opening race, he's like, oh, I don't even have money for gas right now. So he had to start at the back. So all the cars that crashes, he would collect their coins to get more gas for the race, type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like somebody that plays the lottery, where it's just like, man, if I could get this, it would change my life. But it's just kind of,
but it's more of a pipe dream.
Yeah. Right. Playing this game to trying to find the egg is his life goal, but it is what it is. It's how he spends his days, because it doesn't seem like anybody has real work.
Well, that was one of the funny things in that opening race, because not only do we establish our characters' in-game personas. So we got H, who's like the modder who creates all this stuff. She's the one creating, or he, up until the reveal that she's actually a girl, creating the Iron Giant and all these cool shits. And again, playing video games and modders. It's like, oh, I get exactly what this is.
Right.
And then you got Artemis, who is the Twitch streamer, the influencer in the game type of thing. Although that doesn't compute when you actually meet her in real life, because where the fuck was she Twitch streaming, and where
also if she's like so underground.
Like, yeah, everyone having perfect Wi-Fi is also weird in this. It's a real plot hole in this, because it's like, how the fuck is everyone playing? Like, she lives literally in a bag. Like,
yeah. Oh, he
doesn't have an address. What provider is sending her a bill? Like, what the fuck is happening here?
Right. He's also in a van in a junkyard.
Literally. And perfect Wi-Fi there. It might have been explained at one point. I don't really know, but I don't think it was. I don't really think it was. But nevertheless, we yada yada over that shit. But during the race, you see a lot of other people. Maybe it was in the race, or maybe it was something else. But at a certain point in the very beginning of the movie, you see everyone in the real world reacting to their online thing. Like the guy who's in the office and he gets killed and slams the back and tries to jump out the window and shit. And it's like, I don't think anyone actually works, or it's kind of like what we had with 2020. Everyone's just working from a computer, so they're kind of pulling double duty. Everybody's got the dual monitor, so it's like, yeah, I'm working over here, but really, I'm over here in the OASIS.
Yeah, I think
getting
you're
my
right.
shit done.
Yeah, because they were talking about that. Yeah, there was the people that like worked in the office, I guess,
that were playing, and then there was people who the IOI, the Sixers, were. It was their job.
Right.
It was their fucking job to play the game because they worked for IOI, and it was their job to try to find.
They were prisoners.
Yeah, that was a whole weird thing where IOI was buying up people's debt, like it happens to Artemis towards the end. They're just buying up people's debt, and then they become slaves.
Yeah,
basically video game slaves.
Yeah, because they're basically now just has to do like menial tasks and stuff.
It was very odd. Like, I don't know what she was doing, but she was like, because there was a few different levels apparently of your slaveness with IOI, where it's like you had the Sixers, as we mentioned, where they're all hooked up to like vests, but like tripod vests, like the vests are put on like attached to a tripod type of thing. So they're the guys in the races and in the wars and trying to find the key. And then she was in a pod. Like it looked like she was basically a prisoner in jail.
Yeah, so I think
but she was also kind of doing like almost like grunt like when you see people in like a prison, like an old timey prison, where they're just sitting there with a hammer breaking rocks for no fucking reason. I never understood that shit. But again, I didn't go to jail in the 20s.
Yeah, right.
So, but that looked like what she was doing. I don't really understand it, but it's what.
So I think her job was that, like, she was a prisoner and she was doing like hard labor, whereas the people that were like in the race were employees.
Gotcha.
You know, like I do think that there was a difference because, like, if I'm having you try to get the Easter egg, I would need you to be employed. Yes. You know what I mean? As opposed to like,
so I think her grunt work type of thing was finding clues or researching clues, maybe, or
her grunt work was taking those charges and they were like putting them in the ground.
Yeah, it didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, especially because, well, she was playing double agent anyway.
Yeah,
and her shit, once she got locked in her little pod, the finale just started rolling at that point. Yeah. Like she wasn't in there for very fucking long. So the whole point is to find these keys, to find the egg, and
to own the game.
And Wade, who is clearly the smartest person in this world, and spends way too much time digging through Halliday's brain.
Yeah.
Goes and basically, what's the right reference here? I was gonna say MacGyver's, but he doesn't MacGyver it. He kind of like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon's his way through it type of thing, where it's like,
I was gonna say Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, that's that one too, where it's like, oh, so he was in love with this girl who married Simon Pegg, but they went on a date. What's the date of the date? What did they do? They went and watched a movie. Yeah. What movie did they watch? What must have been a romantic movie? No, it was The Shining. Let's go to the fucking Shining. And it gave us a Shining moment. And I was like, I don't care how you got here. This is fucking fun. We are in room
that's the same type of
right now.
Yeah, the whole thing. The guy, H has never seen it before. But part of it was like, it's the same thing with the people that break down frame by frame, different stuff in trailers. It's those Easter egg
literally
hunters.
The documentary Room 237 from The Shining.
Right, and that's basically what
poster in the background of the skier. Well, really, that represents Bigfoot, and that also means that the moon landing was faked by Stanley Kubrick. It's like, and again, I highly suggest watching Room 237. I love that movie, but it is all the bonkers.
Yeah, of course.
If you believe it, well, I have some great Glengarry land in Arizona I could sell you.
Sure. But yeah, that's kind of what it is it's just in that, those people that like broke down the first Star Wars trailer and like, oh my God, who's evil Rey? It's just like, oh God.
Well, it's kind of like what we referenced earlier when we were talking about WandaVision. It's like you can, like, immediately when the show's dropped, you could go on YouTube and find every Easter egg in the show, and there's stuff like, wow, like, I mean, again, I don't have the comic book reference, but damn, man, you really went frame by frame to catch that shit.
Yes. Yeah,
Like,
there was
sorry,
one.
the helicopter had a logo on it.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, really? Even
Yeah,
when they pause it, it's like, are you sure that's that?
So I caught that, but
Okay.
I saw one that it was just like the fortress from Age of Ultron is like the shadow is of it on the wall, and like they like froze it and circled it, and it was just like, well, you're right, but how the hell did you see that?
Nerds.
Nerd! Yeah.
But yeah, needless to say, our hero figures it all out and tells his buddies all the secrets to get the keys, to get the things, and they're moving along. And master villain Ben Mendelsohn, right on that trail, kind of buying his way through. He's paying T.J. Miller's character quite a bit. We never established how much it was, but we established it's quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And he's just like, he comes across, and I mentioned that his character became more relatable after getting back into playing video games, especially online games. But it's like, he seems like that character who, as he said, has been playing for 10 years. So it's like, he's beaten this thing 2 times, 3 times over. And it's like, he's just collecting shit at this point. So probably when Mendelsohn was like, hey, I have this thing, he's like, all right, fine. I mean, he's going to pay me a ton of money and I got nothing else to do in this game.
Yeah, right. I've done it all. I've done and seen it all.
And his avatar was cool as shit with like the body looked like Grayskull.
Skull.
Yeah, look, Castle Grayskull, right? Or whatever Skeletor's.
Skull Rock.
Yeah, Man Mountain Rock. There you go.
Yeah.
Skeletor's home.
Yeah,
he
was a skull. He was just a skull person. He was a skull torso man.
And just like it was a good movie. I guess is my main way of putting it. Which again, classic us. It's like when we like the movie, it's like we don't really need to get into the story because there's not a lot to nitpick. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Watch the movie.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it's a very watchable movie. And the final battle is kind of where, the references all hit the fucking fan. Like they threw everything at us.
Everybody.
I mean, basically the trailer was the final act of this movie.
Yes.
And then when Parzival finally does beat the game, so to speak, and he finds the egg, that's where it gets a little weird for me, because he gets transported into Halliday's childhood home.
Yeah.
And childhood Halliday is playing the video game that Wade just beat, which was, I think, Adventure or something. It was one of those old
Atari game.
It was like Legend of Zelda before it. It was like yeah. So he's playing that, and then but old Halliday is there explaining all the shit to him. Yeah. But he's also like, he's not an avatar in the game.
Yeah. There was also a really cool Mission Impossible scene. So when they get the bad evil boss guy whose name I forget, but they like hijack his stream so that he thinks that he logged off and they're in there, and it's literally just the beginning of Mission Impossible.
Yep,
that was pretty fun.
Did you just Chris Farley that scene? So that scene, they made it like Mission Impossible. That was awesome.
Yeah, I did. It was awesome. I did. I Chris Farley that scene, but I stand by it.
Yeah. So basically, Parzival gets the fucking win, and also the real life shit that was happening. Like, it's funny because the movie is throwing all this in-game shit at you. So what we're missing is when they're cutting back and you realize that they're playing in a van that's fitted with like 5 treadmills.
Something
and
like
also
that.
There's the evil corporation that are shooting at them like real guns.
Yeah. Right.
And they're really crashing into them.
Yeah, that was.
And then Mendelsohn shows up at the stacks or the trailer park, and he's just kind of waving a gun around, and I'm just like,
well, it's so funny because that lady comes in so hot. It's like, we know who you are. You're not leaving here alive. And then he pulls a gun, and it's like, well, I guess he's going to be leaving here alive.
She fucks right off. And it was literally like it was kind of like the reverse of Spider-Man 2 when it was like everyone gathered around Spider-Man, like, if you want him, you got to go through us. And they protected him. In this case, they started there. And like, if you want to get to him, you got to go through us. And he just started walking and they parted like the Red Sea. It's like,
they're like, nope, no fucking thank you.
This was a lot easier. I didn't even have to fire one shot. So, but of course, bad guy gets it in the end. He gets caught and rightly arrested. And because, he's waving a gun around at children.
He's trying to murder children.
There's 5 actual children in a old mail truck with treadmills. Because fuck me, that's all kinds of weird. Like, how also that brings me back. I didn't think of it until literally right now. How big was Wade's van that he was originally playing? Because it had a treadmill he could stand on and run in multiple directions in.
It was huge. It was a very,
biggest
very long
van ever. Because it wasn't a camper. It wasn't a trailer. It wasn't like one of those. It was an actual, just like, it basically from the outside looked like the Ant-Man van. From, you know what I mean? That shitty brown van.
Yeah, just a shitty brown van.
But apparently, whatever. Fucking, we're in the Matrix. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fucking doesn't matter. It's a movie. So he wins, and all is right with the world. He gets the girl, which the reveal that Artemis is actually Samantha, who is a girl of his age and is also into him, was probably the biggest bunch of bullshit in this movie. And it wasn't a man that looks like you or me.
That was the most disappointing thing, was when it was revealed that H was a girl. I really wish that they basically like it was what he said it was, where it was like an old woman or something, and they just weren't compatible, but then he ends up falling in love with his best friend.
Well, like, imagine, okay, so you needed Olivia Cook to play the girl, right? Because that's the love story in the end. So you needed that part. But just for the comedic effect, imagine if H was like Kathy Bates.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
or someone of that age demo. Because there was no adults really in their world. Like, they were all just playing with kids. And I'm sorry, but fucking the description they gave wasn't wrong. It could have been a fat 40-year-old in his mom's basement.
Yeah.
Those people play video games. You know what I mean?
They do.
I play video games.
Are you saying something about yourself, Mike?
Fuck me, I gotta get out of this pandemic.
I'll do, bud.
But nevertheless, we got the happy ending. He got all the money and instituted basically like days off. It was the big thing he did. He's like, on Tuesdays we just fuck our hot girlfriend, and it's like, well, some of us are lonely, dude, and this is all we got. You're a dick.
Gotta go outside. Well, what do you mean?
Because that's what he did. He turned the game off on Tuesdays. That was his big thing. It was like, we're gonna live, and it's like, oh, you just ruined so many people's lives.
Yeah.
It sounds great in the movie with the happy romantic ending. What you don't see are the people like, I don't have anything outside this house.
You're telling me I have to look at my trailer? It's awful.
I gotta go outside and not get bit by the neighbor's dog. That's the best I got.
I have real kids, right?
I don't want to look at them. I really don't want to look at them.
I don't want them.
Oh shit. But it feels like that's gonna wrap up Ready Player One.
Yeah, that's gonna wrap up Ready Player One.
All right. Again, we didn't talk about this.
See, I came prepared.
Oh, good. I was just. Oh, great. I love it. Go for it.
Okay, so we hit on HBO Max this last week, and so I figured we'd over to Disney Plus.
Sure.
And The Rocketeer.
Okay.
The Black Hole, or Muppet Treasure Island.
Shit. Rocketeer. Well, you know what? Since it was announced this week, let's play into the news stories that all of the original Muppet shows are coming to Disney Plus. Let's do Muppet Treasure Island.
All right. Perfect.
There you go. Coming up next
That
week.
was the best news I heard all year.
That the original Muppet Show is coming on. That was the one. Okay, so we talked earlier about Disney Plus, and you were like, "There's not anything that shouldn't be on there that's not on there." And I'm like, I remember thinking that immediately. That was like, why isn't the original? Because they put the last one they did, the reboot on NBC. Right. They put that on Disney Plus. I'm like, and when I saw that, I'm like, oh great, so they must have the back catalog. They're just advertising the new one. I'm like, what the fuck is like the shit from the '70s where Mark Hamill was like drunk?
Yeah. Right. That's 100% true. But it's like that's it, man. It's just like, yeah, man. Even the Muppets, the Muppets. I love it.
Yep. Miss Piggy, Disney princess.
Yeah, Miss Piggy, Disney princess.
So coming up next week on That Movie Show, Muppet Treasure Island. Thank you for joining myself and Eddie here. You can follow us on social media at Mike Wendt, at the Eddie McCabe. And what's going on new on your TikTok, Eddie?
So I got the TikTok. Yeah, I got the TikTok. I'm doing that. I'm also doing a thing. I was inspired, and we talked about when we watched Pump Up the Volume. I don't know why I said Bringing Down the House. When we watched Pump Up the Volume.
Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
Yeah, yes. I got inspired. So every Tuesday and Thursday on twitch.tv/The Eddie McCabe and on my Twitter at The Eddie McCabe, I've been going live in the noontime hour. So between noon and 1, I go live for about a half hour and just kind of talk about a topic for a little bit. But I've been doing that. You can also find it on podcast form as well. It's on all the places. Just look up Evenings with Eddie, and that's where that is. There's also a YouTube component. So if you do miss it, you're not there. I do post them all to my YouTube channel as well.
Fantastic. And by all means, like our Facebook page, facebook.com/thatmovieshowtv. Subscribe on any and all podcasting apps. We are on all of them. Rate, review, subscribe, hit all the buttons, and I believe that's it. We'll see you next week for Muppet Treasure Island.
Bye, everybody.
It's Hooey Valley, Hooey Hollywood, where any office boy or young mechanic can be